Okay, well, sorry for being a day late for making this announcement, but there's quite a few things to talk about today. And we'll start with Chapter 13, which we're going to talk about risk and capital budgeting. It kind of plays off what we were doing in Chapter 12, but the main difference here is we are talking about adding the really important concept of risk and how that gets manifested in some of our equations on terms of making decisions on capital budgeting. And I can tell you what's in Chapter 13 is what's more typically used in corporations to make decisions, but also starts to get into how people view the corporation as they apply values to it. Okay, so in this Chapter 13, we're going to talk about risk and how it's measured. A little bit of probability theory and some basic statistics will come in real handy here, but don't worry about it if you haven't had that kind of a background. It's pretty well explained in the text. Um, and then we're going to talk about the idea that risk it creates uncertainty, and because of that uncertainty, it makes investments less appealing. And I think we can all appreciate the reasons why. Um, and there's lots and lot. I mean, we're just scratching the surface here, but there's just a whole lot of different ways that this is actually calculated and actually considered in today's world with all kinds of data and all kinds of processing power. The simulations and the models are just incredibly sophisticated. So, and they're going to keep going down that path. So if this is something you're interested in, I would definitely keep an eye towards that in terms of thinking about where your future lies. And then we're going to assess the impact of any kind of investment on the total risk of the firm, because that's ultimately what gets decided. Typically, projects are not decided and as individual things, as we talk about here. The board of directors and the people that are responsible for the value of the corporation, they have to look at it in total and they have to think about all what's going on. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it, and you're going to learn about all of those. Okay, so you've probably been learning that it's really, really, really helpful to have a financial calculator at this point. If you don't, no sweat, because you can use Excel. If you have access to Excel, and I think you can get Office 365 relatively easily, and you don't need a really sophisticated version of Excel to do these things. You can do almost all of our homework, and it's actually relatively easy, and you'll see examples of that all throughout the text. So that's chapter 13. That's bringing us to the end of our next section. Okay, and that's another thing I would like for us to talk about in this discussion is that a week from Wednesday will be your next test. And that test will be something similar to what you saw in the second test we took. Again, it's called the second test. Go back to the first test. That really wasn't much of a test. That was just to make sure that you could actually, log in and take a test. But so the third test here is actually covering. I want to say chapters 9 through 13. I should know that before I started bringing that up. And you've already appreciated all the homework that you've done, so it's going to be a little more problem centric. There's only 60 questions. You still have a long period of time to get it done. I believe 240 minutes. So you probably won't need all that time if you're using Excel or a financial calculator, but just to be on the safe side, you have all that. Okay, so the best way to prepare for it, honestly, is to go back and look at the problems that you've done and understand the application of those problems. Um, you know, why are we applying this process to that particular situation? So go back and review that, and I think it'll really go a long way to help you prepare for the test. Okay, but that's not till a week from Wednesday. All right, you just have to get it done by then. All right, so the other thing I want you to consider is our group project is coming up. I'm going to make a separate video for that, and we're going to talk about that in detail in that video. But it's not super complicated, but I'm teaming you up with some classmates, and you're going to have to be real. Everybody agree, let's just get together on this thing and get it moving. So, but I'm going to give you the outline of it. It basically is you're going to watch an incredible documentary about a corporation that was known as Enron. And Enron, it's really hard for me to relate this if you're younger, is that Enron was had just rose quickly to a huge position in terms of capitalization and the size of the corporation. Was just incredible. And I won't be the spoiler to it, so I want you to actually watch the documentary. But it's super well made. And I'm going to give a separate video, produce a separate video to talk about, um, what's in the documentary and what to keep an eye out for, so that you can actually do your group project. Which, when I've offered this in the past, the students actually really like it as a way to interact, and it's a way to kind of put to use some of the stuff that we've been learning. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. But again, look for another video on that. I'll let you know when it's out there, and and I wish you the best of luck with that. So get through chapter 13, prepare for the test. If you have any questions at all, any kind of concerns, anything else, I did put out there that I'm in the middle of doing midterm one-on-one meetings with folks. That is out there. That I'm going to pop this up real quick so you can see. This is accessible through our content, and you can actually go ahead and sign up for a time. Lots of time still available. So through this week, if you want to sit down, and really the purpose of it primarily is for us to talk about where you sit, in terms of your performance in the class and what's coming up, help you with anything that you need to be helped out with. And so that's the purpose of this meeting. But if you have any other questions, certainly don't hesitate to sign up for a time. The times are out there, they are available. Please don't sign up the morning of a day for the afternoon, because I probably will not see that. Okay, so sign up a couple of days in advance. And if there's a time that you need that simply is not listed here, go ahead and send me an email with a couple of times, and hopefully one of those will work. Okay. All right. So wish you the best. We're heading into the home stretch, and look for the videos on the upcoming group project. They're coming up soon. Okay. All right. Everybody, good luck. Enjoy the week, and we'll talk to you next week.